Joey is a high school senior, having ever been disciplined as a child, clearly, or having ever learned the basics of respect.
Hi everyone, welcome to my third installment of this carnivore drama between Bart Kay and Joey Schwartz, Carnivore Camaraderie. This video is where things get really weird. Their debate was about 2.5 hours, the exact time of my debate with Bart, and so there was a lot of ground to cover, and I've just scratched the surface, and I saved some strange stuff for later, which is now. My last video got you oriented on how this drama got started and what it's all about. So now I bring to you, later in the debate, when Bart Kay started getting strict with Carnivore Camaraderie, and he wasn't just his usual hostile self, and he didn't just throw out a lot of bad words. There was a lot of unusual words he has reserved for this 19-year-old. So this brings Bart to a different level of hurting his credibility. So here's an example of how the debate went for the first 40 minutes.
You said that the risk of scurvy is vastly increased if you cook your meat. And I've said there's no evidence that is so. And I said that, Joey, because it's a fact. There is no evidence that it's so.
I mean, look, wouldn't it be just completely logical to say that your risk of getting scurvy on a fully cooked meat diet is greater due to the fact that vitamin C can denature at high heat?
No, Joey, that does not make sense. That is a mechanistic speculation. It does not make sense because it does not follow in the reports, Joey. If it was an issue, there would be reports in the medical literature.
Where is this medical literature that Bart had? Well, maybe he's saying there are no reports. So lack of reports doesn't mean he wins. He could win on a technicality, which is how Nutrivore won with the same guy. But what's the use of winning on a technicality? And another thing about this debate is it was really fascinating to see the interplay between Bart's adherence to scientific proof and mechanism. Either you have proof or you lose, son. And then the son, Joey, he was using logic and common sense. Yes. And Bart is right that you can't apply common sense to something like this. But I think logic is important. And Bart just ignores any logic that interferes with his mechanistic speculation.
That's very intuitive. It's very clear that since vitamin C is destroyed by heat, if a person has a high threshold for vitamin C, they are simply more likely to get scurvy on a cooked meat diet. I'm not sure how you could argue with this.
Because you need to look at the outcomes, Joey,
You need the anecdotes, observational studies, which Bart has said many times is not science. Bart is known for only looking at mechanistic data, which in actuality often just mechanism speculation, which he's about to accuse Joey of coming up here.
Because you need to look at the outcomes, Joey, to establish your mechanistic speculation that there is an increase in risk. If there is an increase in risk, then there is a commensurate increase in incidence.
And also, vegans such as myself, doing it 27 years, I am the living proof of what I was trying to convey to Bart when we had our discussion. I was back in 2019, February 20. And sure, I don't mean that I am documented. I'm saying I am reality, and people such as me complement the science. So if you want studies, come over and study this.
An incidence? No. We are done with that point. We are done with that point, Joey.
No, we're really not done.
We really are. Okay, look, let's go. Your claim is that the risk of scurvy goes up if you cook your meat. Yes. Yeah. I am saying there is no evidence that that is so.
But isn't that because no one's ever tried to put together enough evidence? Like doing studies on this. There's no studies that back up what Joey's saying because there's no studies that have ever tried to, because this is all stupid. Who would do a study like that? That would probably be against the rules of ethics. Let's see if we can give some people scurvy by feeding them this diet of Bart's recommendations that have almost no vitamin C in it. So if I'm right, there's no studies ever been conducted, then Joey's doing a poor job here because he should have pointed that out. Joey could also ask Bart, "Hey Bart, where do you get your vitamin C?"
If there's less vitamin C, how could your risk for scurvy be lower?
See, I'm on Joey's side here, which is weird. But here, he is just not realizing what Bart's getting at. The only reason why your chance of getting scurvy would not be less on a cooked meat diet is if it was impossible, as if there was no risk. And that's what Bart is saying. And Bart's not really helping out with this argument either. He's not saying that in so many words. I'm left to assume that he thinks it takes the inclusion of grains, like the people did on the ships that got scurvy. But is there studies on this? Does Bart have the studies? See, Joey should be saying, let's see your studies, Bart. Bart's making a conclusion too, based on the lack of studies. But then, right after this, he says this.
Vitamin C causes scurvy.
That's right. A lack of appropriate level of vitamin C does in fact cause scurvy to occur. We know that.
And here's another case where carnivores are actually making the case that humans are not carnivores. If Joey or Michaela are worried about getting scurvy, they could just eat some fucking blueberries, like Bart has, or take a supplement like Michaela does. Some carnivores are eating fruit now, but if they wanted to stay totally carnivore, they can just do what Joey suggests, eating raw meat and organs, which Frank does, while plugging his nose. And a lot of people don't like Frank because he teaches to eat raw meat and organs. Even those carnivores don't want to eat that stuff because it's gross. Fruit is not gross because human beings are frugivores.
Anyone who could just employ basic reason would see that it's, but whatever.
Joey.
All right. Now here, it's important to understand Bart's mindset. You can hear that he gets more and more frustrated as this goes on. The reason for Bart's frustration is he sees Joey's combativeness as being disrespectful to Bart's expertise. Bart sees it as maybe blowing off all of Bart's expertise. This will help you to understand the clips that are coming up. And you may notice some of these clips are taken out of context and some of Bart's other videos. But in these clips, his focus is still on Joey.
Anyone who could just employ basic reason would see that it's, but whatever.
Joey, one of us is a professional applier of basic reason. One of us has been a scientist for more years than the other one has been on this planet.
Well, Bart went there. I said something like that in a video a month ago, but I tried not to be as rude. I was saying that I got into this YouTube diet community around 12 years ago when Joey was 8. And speaking of time, I've been vegan 27 years. Joey's parents would have been around 8 back then.
One of us is able to apply scientific discipline to a discussion around cause and effect, risk, incidence, statistics, probability, and all of that. And one of us is you. Okay.
That is rude, see. Even Nutrivore wasn't that rude.
Joey, given his exactly not 1 minute of training in psychology or having ever been disciplined as a child, Joey's tender young age. Right, James Blunt. Is James Blunt a medical practitioner, Joey?
No, he's not, but he said that he had scurvy from cooked carnivore.
Well, okay. I had leprosy, Joey. I had leprosy because I say so. Therefore,
the risk of...
And here Bart is inadvertently making a defense of the fruitarian diet that actor Ashton Kutcher was on. He apparently went to the hospital and has no medical records of anything. There were press stories, but no word from any doctor.
Leprosy is absolutely established because I anecdotally said I had leprosy. Well, she turned me into a newt, Joey. I got better, but she turned me into a newt. She's a witch.
Okay, well, here's where I can draw the distinction between those two things. With vitamin C, what we know is that it denatures at 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
It starts to, yes, but is there sufficient vitamin C remaining after fully cooking meat?
What is that thing he's holding? That looks like something I've seen on another website that's for just people over 18.
Boys and girls of all ages, over 18, of course, that is for my channel.
So I looked back to see where this thing came from. Looks like a whip to me. And he had just picked it up a few seconds before I noticed it. It looks like it was laying on his lap the whole time. I'm just pondering that.
Is there sufficient vitamin C remaining after fully cooking meat?
Okay, let's move on with this spanking.
I have challenged you to produce the evidence that scurvy is an issue for fully carnivorous people eating only fully cooked meat, and you're unable to do it. Is that correct?
It's not correct because I have anecdotes.
No, anecdotes are not evidence, Joey. No, I'm sorry. No, you've made a positive claim about the risk of scurvy. Risk is a cause and effect. Why can't this boy behave?
He seems to show that he has a mental state that's...
He also knows what I like and don't like. You are a 19-year-old child. This is an illegal act. This is a 19-year-old kid that wants to tell me all about truth and reality. You rude, disrespectful little cunt. And you've been spanked, son. I think he's got a chubby, a little boy man crush, perhaps. I don't know. That's my opinion, and I'm just claiming it as such. Ooh, I wish that I was normal, just the same as Ted. Ted is very normal, and he gives really good head.
With this video, I'm going to start ending a lot of my videos with a moment of zen. And this one is brought to you by Bart Kay, who 6 months ago turned over this new leaf.
Glad you could join us. Just to let you know how things are going to be going moving forward, I'm going to give you all the tools you need to be able to think critically in the same way I do. As such, the old style videos I used to make around who's wrong on the interwebs and stuff, the abrasive things, the using of lots and lots of, shall we say, very choice language, that will no longer be occurring here on the YouTube platform. We're going to tidy up the image here.
All right, thumbs up, no doubt. It's simply irrefutable. No other way to go. And if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and that'll tell me to make more like this.